The arena cameras were rolling, but they weren't prepared for what they were about to capture. Most people saw a night nurse in blue scrubs climbing over the barrier to save her husband. They saw her move with a precision that didn't belong in a wrestling ring. But while the crowd was laughing, a few special ops veterans watching at home saw something else. They saw the footwork of a combat medic, the calculated strikes of a staff sergeant, and the cold eyes of a woman who had survived 3 tours in special operations. They laughed when she entered the ring. But when the first explosion rocked the stadium, they realized the terrorists didn't just take hostages. They trapped themselves inside with the one woman they should have feared most.
The fluorescent lights of Seattle Grace Hospital hummed with that particular frequency only healthcare workers notice. A low electric buzz signaling the end of another 12-hour shift. Sarah Chen pulled off her latex gloves, dropped them in the biohazard bin, checked the clock. 7:47 p.m. She had 13 minutes to get across town to the Emerald Arena. Her husband's match started at 8:30. Leaving early, Chen? The voice belonged to Patricia Ramos, the charge nurse, 53 years old, 26 years in emergency medicine. Arms like a longshoreman, and patience measured in negative numbers. Shift's over in 10, Sarah said, not looking up from her chart. She was finishing notes on bed 7. Appendectomy. Post-op stable. Discharged. Your shift's over when I say it's over, Patricia snapped. We've got 3 incoming traumas from a pileup on I-5. Sarah's pen stopped moving. She looked up. Her face was calm, pleasant even, but her eyes held something that made Patricia take half a step back without realizing it. Patricia, Sarah said quietly, my husband has a match tonight. I haven't missed one in 3 years. I'm not starting now. Your husband can wait. No. Sarah's voice didn't rise, didn't need to. He can't. She signed her name, closed the chart, walked past Patricia toward the locker room. Behind her, Patricia stood frozen, confused. The quiet night nurse who never pushed back had just drawn a line in the sand. What Patricia didn't know, what nobody at Seattle Grace knew, was that 3 years ago, Staff Sergeant Sarah Chen had walked away from 8 years in Army Special Operations. 3 tours, 2 Purple Hearts, 1 Silver Star she never wore. She'd walked away because she was tired of counting bodies, tired of being good at killing. She wanted to save lives instead. Some instincts don't die. They just wait. The Emerald Arena was packed. 4,500 screaming fans. The air thick with sweat, beer, and anticipation. Sarah found her seat. 3rd row, ringside. The same seat she'd occupied for every one of Marcus's matches. Marcus Chen, her husband. 6'2", 215 pounds of lean muscle and stubborn pride. He wasn't a star, wasn't main event material, but he was honest, worked hard, played fair. Tonight he was facing Viktor Volkov, the Hammer. Sarah had watched footage. Viktor was different, brutal. 3 wrestlers hospitalized in the last year, 2 with career-ending injuries. The rumors said Viktor didn't just fight to win, he fought to break people. The lights dimmed. The announcer's voice boomed through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, our next match is scheduled for 1 fall. Introducing first, from Seattle, Washington, weighing in at 215 pounds, Marcus the Striker Chen. The crowd gave a respectable cheer. Marcus walked down the ramp, calm, focused. He saw Sarah in the 3rd row. Their eyes met. He smiled, pointed at her. She smiled back, but her stomach was tight. Something felt wrong. And his opponent, the announcer continued, from Moscow, Russia, weighing in at 287 pounds, Viktor the Hammer Volkov. The boos were deafening. Viktor walked through the curtain. He was massive, not tall, maybe 6'1", but built like a concrete wall. Scarred knuckles, dead eyes. He wore a black singlet and boots. No showmanship, no acknowledgement of the crowd. He just stared at Marcus. and smiled. Sarah's hands gripped the armrests. The bell rang. The first 2 minutes were standard. Grappling, positioning, Marcus using speed and technique, Victor using raw power. But at the 3-minute mark, something shifted. Victor caught Marcus in a headlock, standard move. The ref was checking the hold, legal. But Victor wasn't releasing. He was squeezing, cranking Marcus's neck at an angle that had nothing to do with wrestling. Marcus's face turned red, then purple. The ref was shouting, "Break! Break the hold!" Victor ignored him. The crowd began to boo. Sarah stood up. Marcus dropped to one knee, his hands clawing at Victor's forearm. The ref physically tried to pry Victor's arm loose. Victor shoved him away, one-handed. The ref stumbled backward. That's when Sarah saw it. Marcus's eyes rolling back, his body going limp. Victor still squeezing. This wasn't a match anymore. This was attempted murder on live television. The ref was calling for backup. Security was moving toward the ring. But they were too slow. Sarah didn't think. She just moved. Over the barrier, across the protective matting, up the steel steps. The crowd saw her, a woman, 5'6", navy scrubs, blonde hair and a ponytail. Confusion rippled through the arena. What is she? Is that his wife? Someone stop her. The ref turned, saw her climbing through the ropes. Ma'am, you can't. Sarah ignored him. Victor finally released Marcus, let him crumple to the mat. He turned, saw the small woman in scrubs standing 10 feet away. He laughed, a deep mocking sound. You want to play, little nurse? Victor's English was thick with accent. Go back to your seat before you get hurt. Sarah didn't respond. She just looked at her husband, lying on the canvas, gasping for air. Blood trickling from his nose. She looked at Victor, and the switch flipped. The nurse disappeared. The soldier returned. Last chance, Sarah said quietly. Her voice didn't carry beyond the ring. Walk away. Victor's smile widened. He charged. The crowd held its breath. Victor charged like a freight train. 287 pounds of muscle and malice. The crowd gasped. Sarah didn't move. She waited. At the last possible second, when Victor's massive hand was inches from her throat, she dropped. Not backward. Down. Her knee hit the canvas. Her body angled sideways. Victor's momentum carried him forward. His hand grabbed empty air. Sarah's right leg swept out, low, fast, targeting the back of his knee. The joint buckled. Victor stumbled, caught himself on the ropes. He turned, confusion replacing the mockery in his eyes. What? Sarah was already moving. She didn't fight like a wrestler. No theatrical strikes, no playing to the crowd. She fought like someone trained to end threats quickly and move to the next target. She closed the distance, got inside his reach before he could reset. Her elbow drove upward, sharp, precise. It caught him under the jaw. Crack. Victor's head snapped back. He staggered, grabbed the top rope. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. The arena went silent. 4,500 people holding their breath. The announcer's voice crackled over the speakers, uncertain. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what we're witnessing here. Victor shook his head, clearing the stars. He looked at Sarah, really looked at her now. She wasn't breathing hard, wasn't posturing. She just stood there, waiting. You military? Victor growled in broken English. Sarah didn't answer. Victor roared. He charged again. This time he didn't underestimate her. He came in low, wrestling stance, proper technique. He was fast for a big man. But Sarah had fought in Kandahar, had cleared compounds in total darkness, had survived ambushes from fighters who'd been at war since childhood. Victor was big, but he wasn't trained for war. She sidestepped, let him pass. As he went by, her hand shot out. grabbed the back of his singlet. She used his momentum against him, pulled down and twisted. Victor went airborne. For a split second, the massive wrestler was completely off the ground. Then he crashed. The ring shook. The ropes vibrated. Victor hit the canvas face first with a sound like a car accident. The crowd erupted. Not cheers exactly. Shock. Disbelief. Something primal. They'd just watched a woman in scrubs throw a professional wrestler like he was made of paper. Sarah stepped back, giving him space. The ref was frozen, mouth open. He'd never seen anything like this. Victor pushed himself up, slowly. His nose was bleeding now. His lips split. He looked at Sarah with something new in his eyes. Fear. "Who are you?" he whispered. Sarah's voice was quiet, steady. "I'm the woman telling you to stay down." Victor didn't listen. He lunged one more time, desperation fueling him now. Sarah didn't dodge. She met him head on. Her palm strike caught him in the solar plexus, the bundle of nerves just below the sternum. Victor's eyes went wide. His mouth opened. No sound came out. All the air left his lungs in one violent expulsion. He dropped to his knees, gasping. Sarah's follow-up was surgical. A knee to the side of his head. Not full force, just enough. Victor collapsed sideways, eyes rolling back, unconscious before he hit the mat. The arena exploded. People were standing, screaming, phones out, recording everything. The ref finally remembered his job. He dropped down, checked Victor. Out cold. He looked up at Sarah, speechless. Sarah ignored him. She walked to Marcus, dropped to her knees beside him. "Marcus, baby, can you hear me?" Marcus's eyes fluttered open, confused, disoriented. "Sarah?" His voice was hoarse. "What? How did you—" "Shh, don't talk." She checked his neck, his pupils. Professional assessment. "You're okay. Bruising. Maybe mild concussion, but you're okay. You just destroyed Viktor Volkov. I protected you." "Sarah." Marcus grabbed her hand, his grip weak but insistent. "Who are you?" Before she could answer, the lights flickered. Once, twice. Then the entire arena went dark. Emergency lighting kicked in. Dim red glow. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. Then the sound. A deep, earth-shaking boom from somewhere below the main floor. The entire structure shuddered. Screaming started. Not the excited screaming of wrestling fans. The primal screaming of people who know something is very, very wrong. Sarah's training kicked in instantly. She knew that sound. Explosive breach. Concussive force. Probably C4 or military-grade plastic explosive. This wasn't an accident. This was an attack. A second explosion. Closer this time. The west entrance. Flames visible now. Smoke pouring into the main corridor. The crowd panicked. Thousands of people surging toward the exits. Sarah pulled Marcus to his feet. "Now. What's happening? We're under attack." They made it to the edge of the ring when the third explosion hit. The north entrance this time. The blast wave rolled through the arena, knocked people off their feet. Sarah grabbed the ropes, kept Marcus upright. Through the smoke and chaos, she saw something that made her blood run cold. The exits weren't just damaged, they were sealed. Metal barriers, welded shut from the outside. This wasn't random terrorism. This was a siege. And then she heard it. Gunfire. Automatic weapons, AK-patterned rifles by the sound. 3-round bursts. Controlled. Professional. People were running, trampling each other, trying to find a way out. There wasn't one. Sarah's mind raced through the tactical assessment. Sealed building, armed hostiles inside. Thousands of civilians trapped. Police response time, 3 to 5 minutes. SWAT deployment, 15 to 20 minutes. Breach and clear operation on a sealed building, 30 minutes minimum. These people didn't have 30 minutes. Marcus was staring at her. Sarah, what do we do? She looked at him, then at the panicked crowd, then at the smoke pouring from the corridors where men with guns were hunting. She made a decision. Marcus, listen to me very carefully. Her voice was different now, command voice, the voice of Staff Sergeant Chen. You're going to take as many people as you can and get them to the locker rooms. Barricade the doors. Do not come out until you hear police. What are you going to do? Sarah looked toward the smoke, toward the gunfire. I'm going to buy you time. Sarah. She kissed him. Hard. Fast. Now go. She disappeared into the smoke. Marcus stood there, stunned. Around him, people were screaming. His wife, his quiet, gentle wife, who worked night shifts and made him breakfast before his matches, had just walked toward the sound of gunfire. And for the first time, in 3 years of marriage, Marcus realized he had no idea who she really was. If you're on the edge of your seat right now, drop a comment and let me know. This is just the beginning. It's about to get brutal. The smoke tasted like burning plastic and cordite. Sarah moved through it like a ghost. Low, silent, every step deliberate. She'd stripped off her scrub top, left her in a black tank top underneath, less visible in the darkness. The emergency lights cast everything in red, perfect for hiding blood. She passed bodies, 3 civilians, shot in the back while running. Sarah checked pulses anyway. Training. Nothing. She kept moving. The gunfire had stopped, replaced by something worse. Voices, men shouting in Arabic. Sarah's Arabic was functional. Not fluent, but good enough. Secure the south corridor. How many inside? 4,000 at least. Command says hold position until. She stopped, pressed against a concrete pillar, peered around the edge. 3 men, 20 meters away, standing at the base of the destroyed north entrance. They wore tactical gear, black cargo pants, load-bearing vests, no uniforms. But their movements were military, disciplined. Each carried an AK-104, short-barrel variant, good for close quarters. These weren't amateurs. Sarah scanned the area. Concession stand to her left, overturned tables, spilled popcorn and soda creating a slick mess on the floor. Maintenance corridor to her right, door propped open with a fire extinguisher. She needed a weapon. The closest body, a security guard, was 8 meters away, his service pistol still holstered. But between Sarah and the guard were the 3 terrorists. She looked up. The stadium's architectural guts were exposed here. Electrical conduits, ventilation ducts, support beams. An idea formed. She moved backward, silent. Found the maintenance corridor. The emergency lighting here was green instead of red. Cleaning supplies, mops, industrial-sized containers of floor cleaner, and a toolbox. Sarah opened it. Screwdrivers, wrenches, pliers. She grabbed a 12-inch adjustable wrench, heavy, solid steel. Not a gun, but it would do. She also grabbed a roll of electrical tape and a can of WD-40. Improvised tools for improvised war. Sarah climbed. The ventilation shaft was narrow, designed for maintenance access, not comfortable, but she trained in worse. The metal groaned slightly under her weight. She froze, listening. The voices below continued, unaware. She crawled forward. 15 feet, 20. The shaft passed directly over the 3 terrorists. Through the grating she could see them clearly now. The leader was talking on a radio. Yes, all entrances sealed. Police are outside, but cannot breach. Estimated 4,300 civilians trapped inside. We begin executions in 20 minutes unless demands are met. Sarah's jaw tightened. Executions. 20 minutes. The police couldn't breach in 20 minutes. Not with welded barriers. She looked at the grating beneath her. 4 screws. Phillips head. She pulled a screwdriver from her waistband. Slowly, quietly, she began unscrewing. First screw, out. Second screw, out. The third screw was rusted, Stuck. She applied pressure. The screwdriver slipped, scraped metal, loud. Below, one of the terrorists looked up. What was that? Sarah didn't breathe. The terrorist raised his rifle, pointed it at the vent. Ahmed, check it out, stood directly beneath the grating. Sarah's hand tightened on the wrench. The terrorist reached up, touched the grating. Sarah didn't wait. She slammed her palm against the loosened grating. It gave way. The heavy metal grate fell. It caught the terrorist in the face. The edge hit his nose with a wet crunch. He dropped, stunned. Sarah dropped with the grate. She landed on top of him, knees on his chest. The wrench came down, once, across his temple. He went limp. Contact, the leader shouted, raising his AK. Sarah grabbed the unconscious terrorist's rifle, rolled. A leader fired. Bullets chewed up the concrete where she'd been. Sarah came up in a crouch. The AK-104 felt familiar in her hands. Muscle memory from 1,000 drills. She didn't hesitate. Double tap, center mass. The leader went down. Fumbling with his weapon, Sarah advanced. He got his rifle up. She was faster. One shot. Head. He dropped. Silence. Sarah stood in the corridor. 3 bodies at her feet. She checked them, grabbed magazines, zip ties, a radio. The radio crackled. Team 3, report. Team 3, status. Sarah didn't respond. She clipped the radio to her waistband. Now she could listen. The stadium was a maze. Sarah had attended dozens of Marcus's matches. She knew the layout. Main floor, upper concourse, VIP boxes, locker rooms. But there were places the public never saw. Maintenance tunnels, service corridors, the boiler room. She moved through them now. The radio chatter told her everything. 12 terrorists total. 4 teams of 3. Team 1, main entrance, holding position. Team 2, east corridor, herding civilians toward the center. Team 3, dead. Team 4, unknown position. Their plan was simple, brutal. Gather all civilians in the main arena floor, controlled killing ground. Execute hostages one by one until demands were met. Sarah couldn't let them gather the civilians. Divided, the terrorists had targets everywhere. Couldn't focus. United, they'd be unstoppable. She had to keep them scattered, afraid, hunting shadows instead of hostages. Sarah found Team 2 in the east corridor. They were pushing a group of terrified civilians, maybe 60 people, men, women, children. Move, faster. One of the terrorists struck an elderly man with his rifle butt. The man fell. His wife screamed. Sarah was 30 meters behind them. Elevated position. Service catwalk. She raised the AK. Aimed, but she couldn't shoot. Too many civilians in the line of fire. She needed a different approach. She grabbed the WD-40 from her pocket, sprayed it on the catwalk railing. Then she threw the can, hard. It sailed through the air, clattered on the floor 10 meters ahead of the terrorists. They spun, rifles up. What was that? Check it out. 2 terrorists moved forward, leaving one guarding the civilians. Sarah moved along the catwalk, parallel to them. Silent. The 2 terrorists reached the can, confused. Sarah dropped, straight down, 8 feet. She landed behind them. The wrench caught the first one in the back of the knee. He collapsed, screaming. The second one turned. Sarah was already inside his guard. She grabbed his rifle, pushed the barrel up. Bullets hit the ceiling. She drove her knee into his groin. He doubled over. She ripped the rifle from his hands, reversed it, used the stock as a club. 1 hit. Temple. Down. The first terrorist was crawling, reaching for his sidearm. Sarah kicked it away, placed her boot on his throat. How many more teams? She asked in Arabic. He spat at her. She increased pressure. How many? Go to hell. She knocked him unconscious with the rifle stock. The civilians were staring, frozen in terror. The third terrorist, The one guarding them was running toward her, firing wild. Sarah dove behind a concrete pillar. Bullets chipped the corner, concrete dust exploding. She waited, listened to his footsteps, counted. When he was close enough, she leaned out. One shot. He went down. Sarah stood, breathing hard now. The civilians were still frozen. "Listen to me," Sarah said, her voice carrying command. "I need you to move, now. Back the way you came. Find the locker rooms. Barricade yourselves inside. Do not come out until police arrive. Go." They ran. Sarah turned, headed deeper into the stadium. The radio crackled. "Team 2, report." Silence. "Team 2, respond." Sarah smiled. She keyed the radio, spoke in perfect Arabic. "Team 2 is down." Silence on the other end. Then a different voice, older. Authority. "Who is this?" "Someone who's going to kill every single one of you." She released the transmit button. "Let them think about that." Somewhere in the stadium, the terrorist leader, a man named Rashid, stared at his radio. His second-in-command looked at him. "Commander?" Rashid's face was stone. "We have a problem." "The police?" "No." Rashid looked at the map of the stadium. 3 teams marked, 2 now silent. "Someone is inside, hunting us." "One person did this?" Rashid remembered the voice on the radio. Female, American, cold, not panicked, not afraid. The voice of someone who'd done this before. "Get Team 4, Rashid ordered. Have them sweep the maintenance corridors. Kill anyone armed." "I want this ghost found." "Yes, Commander." But as his man left, Rashid felt something he hadn't felt in 15 years of jihad. Doubt. Whoever was out there wasn't running. They were hunting. And his men were dying. Sarah moved through the darkness. 6 hostiles down. 6 to go. But the hardest part was coming. She needed to find the main terrorist position. And she needed to open a way for the police to breach. The building was sealed tight. But every fortress had a weakness. She just had to find it. Before the executions began, she checked her watch. 14 minutes left. The radio crackled. Rashid's voice, calm, almost pleasant. "I know you can hear me, Ghost. I have a gift for you." Sarah froze, pressed against the wall of a service corridor. She keyed the radio, said nothing. Rashid continued. "Sector C, near the medical station, there is a young man, 17 years old, shrapnel wound to the chest. He is calling for his mother, crying." Sarah's jaw tightened. "You are a fighter, yes, but you are also something else. I can hear it in your voice. You care about these people." Pause. "So here is my gift. You can have him. I will let you save 1 life. But my men are waiting. Come for him, and we end this. Your choice." The transmission ended. Sarah closed her eyes. Sector C was open ground. The medical station sat in a wide concourse. No cover. Perfect kill zone. It was a trap. Obviously a trap. She should ignore it. Keep hunting. Take out the remaining teams. Open the breach points. That was the tactical choice. But then she heard it. Faint. Distant. A voice. Young. Terrified. "Help, please, someone." Sarah looked down at her hands. They were shaking. Not from fear. From the choice. She found him exactly where Rashid said he would be. A kid. 18 maybe. 17 like Rashid said. Wearing a Seahawks jersey. Blood soaking through the green fabric. He was lying near an overturned concession stand, surrounded by scattered nachos and broken glass. His breathing was wrong, wet, rattling, sucking chest wound. Sarah scanned the area from her elevated position, the upper concourse catwalk. She counted positions. 4 shooters, hidden behind pillars and overturned vendor carts. They were good, disciplined, not moving, waiting. She looked at the kid. Blood sprayed from his lips. Tension pneumothorax. air escaping into the chest cavity, lung collapsing. Without treatment, he had maybe 4 minutes. Sarah checked her watch. Then she made her decision. Screw it. She dropped from the catwalk. She hit the ground running, low, zigzagging. The first shots came immediately. Crack, crack, crack. Bullets chewed up the concrete behind her. She dove, slid behind the concession stand, right next to the kid. "Hey," Sarah said, her voice calm, professional. "I'm Sarah. I'm a nurse. You're going to be okay." The kid's eyes were wide, terrified. I can't breathe." "I know. I'm gonna fix that." She ripped open his jersey. The wound was ugly. 2-inch laceration just below the left collarbone. Entry wound, no exit. Shrapnel still inside. His chest wasn't rising evenly. The left side barely moved. She needed to seal it, now. Gunfire erupted again. Closer. The terrorists were advancing. Sarah grabbed the kid's wallet from his pocket. Plastic. Perfect. She tore it open, used the smooth plastic surface as an occlusive dressing, placed it over the wound, taped 3 sides with the electrical tape from her pocket. One-way valve. Air could escape but not enter. The kid gasped. His breathing immediately improved. "Better?" He nodded, tears streaming down his face. "Good. Now stay down." She grabbed the AK, checked the magazine. 11 rounds left. Not enough. The radio on her hip crackled. Rashid's voice, amused. "You came. I knew you would. Now my men will kill you both." Sarah looked around. 4 terrorists, moving in from cardinal directions. Standard kill box. 60 seconds until they had fiery solutions. She looked at the concession stand. The industrial equipment behind it. Soda machine, popcorn maker, deep fryer. An idea formed. Desperate. Insane. But it might work. She grabbed the fire extinguisher from the wall. 20 pounds, CO2 model. She unscrewed the safety pin, wedged the handle open with a piece of broken metal. The extinguisher began hissing, white vapor pouring out. She threw it. The canister rolled across the floor, spinning, spewing thick white fog. The terrorists hesitated, visibility dropping to 0. Sarah moved. She grabbed the industrial deep fryer. Still hot. Oil inside was 350 degrees. She kicked the base, tipped it over. Boiling oil flooded across the floor. Screams. One of the terrorists stepped into it. His boot caught fire. Thrashing. Sarah used the confusion. She grabbed the kid, threw him over her shoulder in a fireman's carry. He weighed maybe 140 pounds. She'd carried heavier in Kandahar. She ran. Bullets followed, missing in the fog. She made it to the maintenance corridor, kicked the door shut behind her, set the kid down gently. "Stay here. Don't move." She turned back to the door. The terrorists were coming. She could hear their boots, their voices. 3 left, 1 wounded from the oil. Sarah grabbed her last grenade. Not a real grenade, improvised. She'd made it earlier from a fire extinguisher canister, gunpowder from disassembled bullets, and a lighter. Crude, unreliable, but maybe enough. She cracked the door, rolled the canister through, slammed it shut. 5 seconds. 4, 3, boom. The explosion was smaller than a real grenade. But in the enclosed corridor, it was devastating. The shockwave blew the door off its hinges. Smoke poured through. Sarah waited, listening, groaning, movement. Someone was alive. She grabbed the wrench, moved through the smoke, found him. One of the terrorists. Legs shattered, ears bleeding from the blast. He was reaching for his rifle. Sarah kicked it away. "How many more?" she asked in Arabic. He spat blood. "Go to hell." Wrong answer. She hit his broken leg with the wrench. He screamed. "How many more?" "3. 3 plus Commander Rashid. They're at the main entrance, waiting for police to breach." "Where are the charges?" What? The explosives. You sealed the doors. Where are the detonators? His eyes widened. She hit his leg again. Main entrance. Control box. Rashid has the remote. Sarah knocked him unconscious. She keyed the radio. Rashid, this is your ghost. Silence. Then his voice, no longer amused. You killed my men. I'm coming for you next. You are injured. I can hear it in your breathing. And you are alone. Sarah looked down. She hadn't noticed, but he was right. Her side was bleeding, shrapnel from her own improvised grenade. Not deep, but painful. Alone is how I work best, she said. She released the transmit button, leaned against the wall. The kid was staring at her. You're hurt. I'm fine. You're bleeding. I said I'm fine. She ripped a strip from her tank top, wrapped it around her ribs, tight. The pain sharpened. Focused her. Checked it. 8 rounds. Not enough for 4 targets. She needed to be smart. The main entrance was a war zone. Barricades, overturned vehicles, the welded metal barriers blocking the doors. And in the center, Rashid. He stood calmly, radio in one hand, detonator in the other. 3 men with him, spread out, good positions. Outside, Sarah could see flashing lights, police, SWAT, fire trucks. They couldn't breach, not without casualties. Not unless someone opened the doors from inside. Sarah keyed the radio one more time. Rashid, let's talk. Talk? You killed 9 of my men. You're surrounded. Police are outside. You can't win. I do not need to win. I need to send a message. He held up the detonator. This device is connected to charges throughout the building. If I release the button, everyone dies. Me, you, the police outside, the civilians hiding in your locker rooms. So this is suicide? This is martyrdom. Sarah closed her eyes. Calculated. 8 rounds, 4 targets, 40 meters distance, 1 wounded soldier. Impossible odds. She smiled. She'd faced worse. Rashid, she said, I'm done talking. She stepped into the open. Sarah walked into the light. No cover. No stealth. Just her, the AK, and 8 bullets. Rashid saw her immediately. He smiled. The ghost has a face, he said. His 3 men raised their rifles. Sarah kept walking. 20 meters. Stop, Rashid commanded. Sarah stopped. She let the AK hang loose on its sling, raised her hands. You want to talk now? Rashid asked. No. Sarah's hand moved. Fast. She grabbed something from her pocket. Threw it. The object sailed through the air. Rashid flinched. His men ducked. It was a handcuffed soda can. It clattered harmlessly on the ground. But in that half-second of distraction, Sarah moved. She dropped, rolled left, came up with the AK shouldered. The first shot took the leftmost terrorist. Center mass. Down. Second shot. The right terrorist. Head. Down. The middle terrorist had dropped prone. He fired back. Full auto. Bullets chewed up the concrete around Sarah. She dove behind an overturned vending machine. Return fire hammered her cover. The metal machine shuddered with impacts. She counted rounds. 30-round magazine. He was dumping it. 27. 28. 29. 30. Click. Magazine empty. Reload time, 2 seconds. Sarah popped up. 1 shot. The terrorist's head snapped back. Down. That left Rashid. Sarah had 4 rounds remaining. She stepped out from cover. Rashid was standing exactly where he'd been. Calm. The detonator still in his hand. Impressive, he said. But now you have a problem. He held up the detonator. Dead man switch. If I release pressure, the charges detonate. Everyone dies. Sarah lowered her rifle slightly. So we're at an impasse. No. Rashid smiled. You are at an impasse. I am at peace. I die today regardless. But I decide how many come with me. Sarah's mind raced. Dead man switch. Standard terrorist protocol. If she shot him, his hand would relax. Trigger would release. Boom. Unless, she looked at his hand, really looked. The detonator was commercial, Chinese-made. She'd seen the model before in Iraq. It had a safety, a small switch on the side, and from this angle, she could see it. The safety was off, but Rashid's thumb was covering the trigger. If she could get him to shift his grip— "You know what I think?" Sarah said, keeping her voice calm, conversational. "What?" "I think you're afraid." Rashid's smile faltered. Afraid of what? Dying alone, forgotten, just another terrorist in a long line of failed attacks. "I am not. You wanted police to breach so you could take them with you. Wanted witnesses, cameras, a spectacle." Sarah took a step forward. "But I ruined that. Killed your men, saved the civilians, and now you're just a man with a bomb, talking to a nurse in an empty hallway." Another step. "Nobody's watching, Rashid. Nobody cares." His face darkened. "Stop moving. Make me." Sarah took another step. Rashid's hand tightened on the detonator. But his thumb shifted. Just a millimeter. But it was enough. Sarah saw the opening. She fired. Not at Rashid, at his hand. The bullet severed his thumb. His hand spasmed. The detonator flew from his grip. Sarah was already moving. She dove. Caught the detonator in midair. Hit the ground. Rolled. Came up with the detonator in one hand. Rifle in the other. Rashid was screaming, clutching his ruined hand. Sarah kept the trigger depressed. Carefully, she flipped the safety switch. Locked. The detonator was now inert. She set it down gently. Then she stood. Walked to Rashid. He was on his knees. Blood pouring from his hand. You, Rashid began. Sarah didn't let him finish. She hit him with the rifle stock. Once. He collapsed, unconscious. Sarah stood there, breathing hard, blood seeping through the makeshift bandage on her ribs. She keyed her radio, switched to police frequency. This is Sarah Chen, civilian inside the Emerald Arena. All hostile threats neutralized. I repeat, all threats down. You are clear to breach. Static. Then a voice, male, authoritative. This is SWAT Commander Price. Identify yourself. How do we know this isn't a trap? Because if it was a trap, you'd already be dead. The doors are sealed with welding. You'll need cutting torches. Main entrance. 5 minutes and you're through. Ma'am, who are you? Sarah looked at the bodies around her, at the blood on her hands. I'm nobody, just a nurse who had a bad night. She released the transmit button, walked toward the sound of voices. Survivors were emerging from hiding. Cautious, terrified. They saw her, blood-covered, armed, moving like death itself. Some screamed, some ran, but a few recognized her. That's her, someone whispered. That's the woman from the ring. She saved us. She killed them all. Sarah ignored them. She had one priority. Marcus. She found him in the locker room. He was surrounded by maybe 70 people, all hiding, safe. When Sarah pushed through the door, they flinched, but Marcus stood. Their eyes met across the room. He looked at her, really looked. The blood, the rifle, the cold expression that hadn't quite faded. Sarah? She dropped the rifle, let it clatter to the floor. I'm sorry, she whispered. Marcus crossed the room, pulled her into his arms. She collapsed against him. All the adrenaline, all the fear, all the violence. It drained out in one shuddering breath. I'm sorry, she repeated. I should have told you, should have. Shh, Marcus held her tighter. You saved us. You saved everyone. I lied to you. For 3 years, I lied about who I was. No. Marcus pulled back, looked into her eyes. You didn't lie. You just didn't tell me everything. There's a difference. Is there? Yeah. He smiled, weak but real, because the woman I married is still here. More than I knew. Sarah felt tears coming. She blinked them back. I killed people tonight. You saved 4,000 people tonight. That doesn't erase. Sarah. Marcus cupped her face. I don't care what you were. I care about who you are. And who you are is the bravest person I've ever met. The door burst open. SWAT flooded in. Rifles up. Hands! Show me hands! Sarah and Marcus raised their hands. An officer approached, saw the rifle on the ground, saw the blood. Ma'am, are you Sarah Chen? Yes. We need you to come with us. Debriefing. Sarah nodded. Marcus squeezed her hand. I'll be right behind you. She was led outside. The night air hit her like a slap. Cold. Clean. The parking lot was chaos. Ambulances, fire trucks, police cars, survivors being triaged, press being held back. Commander Price approached. 50-something. Hard eyes. He looked at Sarah. You're the one on the radio. Yes. We found 12 dead hostiles inside, all killed with precision. Military precision. Sarah said nothing. Who are you really? I told you, I'm a nurse. Nurses don't clear buildings like Tier 1 operators. Sarah met his gaze. This one does. Price stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Get her medical attention, then I want a full debrief. As the paramedics led Sarah away, she looked back. Marcus was being checked by another medic. He saw her, smiled. She smiled back. If this story has you thinking about the hidden strengths people carry, drop a comment. Who's the quiet hero in your life that nobody really knows? 3 weeks later, Sarah returned to Seattle Grace Hospital. The ER looked the same. Patricia was at the nurse's station. She looked up when Sarah walked in. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Patricia stood. Chen. Patricia. You're cleared to return to work? Yes. Patricia nodded slowly. Good. Because we're short-staffed and I need someone on bed 7. Sarah almost smiled. Almost. Yes, ma'am. As she walked past, Patricia's voice stopped her. Chen. Yeah? What you did at the arena. Patricia struggled with the words. That was just doing what needed to be done. Patricia nodded. Still, thank you. Sarah nodded back. She changed into her scrubs, clipped her ID badge. Sarah Chen, RN, night shift. No mention of the Silver Star, the Purple Hearts, the 8 years in special operations. Just a nurse. That's all anyone needed to know. She walked onto the floor. Checked vitals. Changed IVs. Administered medications. Normal. Boring. Perfect. At home that night, Marcus was waiting. He'd made dinner. Pasta. Her favorite. They ate in comfortable silence. Afterwards, they sat on the couch. Marcus turned on the TV. The news was covering the arena attack. 12 terrorists killed by unknown person inside the building. Police refused to release identity. Survivors call her the Angel of Emerald Arena. Marcus changed the channel. You okay? He asked. Sarah nodded. Yeah, I'm okay. No nightmares? Not yet. He pulled her close. If you get them, wake me up. I will. They sat there. 2 people who'd found each other, lost each other, and found each other again. Different now. Honest. Real. Sarah looked at her hands. They'd saved lives tonight at the hospital. 3 weeks ago, they'd taken lives at the arena. Same hands. Different purposes. She'd spent 3 years running from who she was, trying to bury the soldier, become just the nurse. But that night taught her something. She didn't have to choose. She could be both. Healer and warrior. Gentle and deadly. Sarah Chen and Staff Sergeant Chen. Both were real. Both were her. And for the first time in 3 years, that felt okay. Marcus kissed the top of her head. Love you. Love you too. Outside, Seattle continued its endless rain. Inside, 2 people held each other. And the quiet night nurse who'd saved 4,000 lives went back to being nobody special. Exactly how she wanted it. This story reminds us that the people we pass every day might be carrying extraordinary strength we'll never see. The nurse, the teacher, the clerk. Sometimes heroes hide in plain sight. If this moved you, share it, and remember to thank the quiet ones. You never know what battles they've already fought.